Hi, church. So here we are, the day after the election, and I know that we, by and large, are feeling a lot of really heavy emotions today. A lot of us are feeling disappointment and anger and fear, and our reactions to that could be anything from wanting to speak out to wanting to be silent. I know we're all trying to practice a lot of self-care. I know a lot of us who didn't want the outcome of this election to turn out the way it has prepared mentally for this day. Like, we knew this was a possibility. And also, it doesn't make it any easier that this is now our reality. So we just wanted to jump on here today and acknowledge that all of those feelings are valid. All of those feelings you're having today are holy because God created you to have feelings and to care about things that are meaningful in the world and in our lives. And just, we wanted to share like our own personal feelings. So, I woke up today and I felt like this is so upsetting for me personally because it feels like our nation has made a statement about how we feel about women in leadership in general, that we as a nation would rather elect someone who is a criminal, a racist, a rapist, all of these things, rather than a woman who is arguably more qualified for the position, has a better demeanor, has more experience, has more compassion in her statements, is more articulate, understands the issues better, has a better grasp on what our nation really needs, and isn't spewing lies. And for her to not be able to get the position that she worked so hard for, I think is really hard for a lot of women today because we've seen this our whole lives. I mean, this is the history of our nation, that women have time and time again gone up for positions of leadership or power or even just a job and have found that men take those positions, whether or not they're equally qualified. And that's just something that we have internalized. And I think that's why it's hard to know that a lot of women, not a lot of women, some women are okay with the outcome. And I think that's just an internalized message from the patriarchy that we can't be leaders when it comes to the highest offices. So I'm grieving that today. I'm grieving the feeling that members of the LGBTQIA plus community are going to live in fear for the next 4 years. That includes a lot of our friends, that includes our family members, and that is just a weight that we collectively now have to carry. And I'm grieving for, all of our children who are going to have to suffer the consequences of this. I'm grieving for all of the lack of change that's going to happen in the next 4 years. And I'm also grieving the changes that are going to happen in the next 4 years. Jacob and I preached this last 2-week sermon series talking about something greater and talking about how we don't want to overstep and become partisan, but the church is political. And so many of the issues that were on the ballot this year that directed us toward one leader or the other were deeply spiritual issues that deeply affect all of us in the way that we are able to live or not live our lives and the things that we care about. And so we're in this space with you today. We wanted to get on here and let you know that we too are feeling all of the difficult things and the emotions that you're feeling. We're humans, we're not robots. And so we feel the impact of this as well. So did you want to jump in and say something before we're going to hold space tonight together as a community, but we'll tell you about that in a moment.
Yeah. We just want to share with you that, as Jen said, it's okay to feel these emotions and for however long you need to. And so anything that you need during this time, you can always reach out to us. And this is going to be an opportunity for the church to be the church, This is what our faith is about. This is why we have faith. This is why we build our faith. This is why we trust in our faith, is that for moments that seem bleak and dark, that we are able as people of faith to say, we are going to keep loving. We are going to practice the teachings of Jesus, revolutionary teachings that call for us to love our enemy, to give what we have to the poor. We're going to practice these teachings again and again and again, and this is a chance for us to do it in the face of even greater difficulty, which just means we have to rely on our faith even more. But we will be the church, and we will use this as a time to continue to show grace and to love all people and to stand up for the oppressed. We will continue to be the church. And so, as Jen said, we want to provide some space for us to just kind of share with each other, to be with each other. And so you'll see in this email an invitation to come on out to the church at 6 p.m., and then a link to participate digitally if you're not able to make it out to the church. And we'll just invite people to bring a poem or song lyrics or a scripture passage or a prayer that you would like to read during our time
together. Or your
together.
own thoughts if you want to write them into a short reflection.
Yeah, we just invite you to write something down,
Yeah.
though. We want everyone to have something written down when they come up to share.
Yeah.
And we'll be with each other.
Yeah.
And we will be together as a church.
Yeah. You know, I'm so grateful for this community. Obviously, social media is a hard space to be in right now, but I was there this morning, and actually starting at like 3 a.m. And a lot of our colleagues are fearful of what this means to be in ministry. I had several colleagues say, I don't know if I can be a pastor for another 4 years like this in this context with my congregation. Like I need to seriously consider stepping away from ministry because it's just too hard. And we're grateful that we don't feel that way, that we feel like this church has a history of strengthening its bonds, coming together in times like this, and putting our faith into action, which is something we talk about a lot. In 2016, Jacob and I always say, like, we got a whole new job description than what we thought we were doing because of all the issues that came onto the table. And I'm not looking forward to that again, but I will say in that time, we did have a lot of new ministries that came onto the scene for us. We had the Adelanto Visitation for immigrants who were in detention. We had the prison ministry started up during that time.
We're going to have to do a lot of climate work. We're going to be
so
scaling
much,
back our climate commitments.
Right. So I think just knowing the landscape that lays ahead and knowing the strength of this community, I feel like it gives me the hope that we will move forward together. We will walk through this time and space together. We don't have to do it alone. And we're grateful for your support. We're grateful for your vulnerability and your honesty and your willingness to continue walking this path of faith, which is arguably going to be tested in the next couple of years. So we look forward to seeing those of you who are able to join us tonight from 6 to 7 p.m. at the church. And like Jacob said, there's a link as well if you want to join by Zoom. And we just hope that everyone is practicing self-care today and is able to talk to someone if you need to, take a walk, deep breathing, whatever it is that you need to do to kind of regulate. So we're with you. We're praying for you. We're praying for all of us. And we love you.
We do. See you soon.